Hey y'all, it's Ayana Sunshine, and welcome back to the Everything Grows podcast, where we talk about growing from where we are. Today we have a very special guest. I know I say that about everybody, but they are all special to my heart. We have Rob J.
What's going on? Make some noise.
Right, and
Y'all know what's
it's
good.
gonna be us.
All right.
But yes. I'm so excited to have you on here today. And we've been trying to schedule this and get this together for a little while.
Man,
But
for so
what
long.
you say, Rob? Pressure makes diamonds.
Look, pressure make diamonds. We made it happen though. Look,
Yes,
today, October 16th, we
yes.
made it happen.
Today is the day, and I wanted Rob on the podcast specifically for a male perspective, but from a younger male perspective. I know I've had a few people on here um, that has spoke to different things, but I think Rob has a unique way of just living and showing up in the world, and I really appreciate his authenticity at all times. He's always the same person wherever you go, whether it's in a professional setting or in a casual setting. We always gonna get the same Rob no matter what. So Rob, let's get started. We know you come from a town. I'm from Washington D.C. and you're from
DC,
somewhere
what's up?
called Little Rock, Arkansas.
Yes, I am from the Little Rock,
Yes.
Arkansas.
So tell us a little bit about growing up in Little Rock.
Yeah, of course. So I just introduced myself. My name is Robert Johnson. I am the associate director of university housing at Arkansas State. I'm from Little Rock. Just growing up in Little Rock, man. A lot of people hear Arkansas and they think like country cows and yeah, it's not like that, man. So I'm from the capital city, so I'm very much city boy. City boys up 1,000. I'm very much, very much a city boy. So I grew up. So we have what's called the Little Rock School District. So a lot of elementary schools. Usually, when you go through elementary, middle school, high school, you see some of the same people. Even if you go through a different school,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're gonna know everybody, man.
Yes.
It's like a big circle almost. And so I went to elementary, probably like 6 blocks from my grandfather's house,
Wow.
which is I went to Ricedale Elementary. Then from there, my mom took me out of Ricedale. Then I went to Stevens Elementary, which is more on the west side of Little Rock. From there, went back to the south side. And went to Dunbar, which is right down the street from my old elementary school, Ricedale, and it's like 6 blocks from my grandfather's
Mm-hmm.
house too. So my grandfather stayed on 1005 West 24th, so that's considered the South too. So walked back and forth to school from my grandfather's house like it was nothing. My parents worked down the street. From there, a lot of people who go from Dunbar or they stay on the west side, they end up going to Central. So everybody knows Central High School, like the Little Rock Nine. Like we all know Central. So my mom actually didn't go to Central, even though she stayed down the street. She went to Hall High, which is that back in the day that was just like a rival of Central High School. So I wanted to go where my mom went.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a chance to go to Little Rock Hall. That's where my sister went. That's where my aunts went, my uncles, like everybody. So growing up in Little Rock, man, I mean, it was great. I can honestly say that um, Little Rock made me who I am today,
Mm-hmm.
and still to this day, I feel like I'm indebted to Little Rock, and one day I plan to retire and go back to Little Rock,
Mm-hmm.
so I can, instill what I've learned. You leave and you learn stuff, and you bring it back home, so yeah, growing up in Little Rock was everything. I wouldn't change it for the world, but it's nice knowing, people like you who grew up in DC, and it's just like, oh, like we travel to DC.
Right. And that's cool when you were talking about getting like the same people growing up, and that's one thing I never had. Like in DC, well, first of all, my mom moved to every quadrant. We lived in southeast, northeast, northwest, southwest. We lived all
Okay,
over
so
the
y'all
place.
call y'all sections
Oh yeah,
quadrants.
yeah. So we call it,
Okay, that's cool.
but
Okay.
outside the quadrant, I hate to say, the hoods.
Look, we all got them. Everybody got
So
them.
you
All
say
right.
you say where you from, or like that's usually how we get around. But the YT folks. That's
Right. The yike.
quadrant
The
bars.
yike.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes. So then once you transition from Little Rock, you went to Arkansas State, correct?
Yes, I
Yes, yes,
did.
yes. So
Yeah, you can go ask your
no,
question. My
that's it.
bad.
I wanted you to talk about
Oh,
that
okay,
where you
okay.
said Arkansas State because we
Oh,
paint the
yeah, of
picture
course.
for our people, and then they go,
Okay, okay. We painting the picture.
yes,
Okay, so yeah, so after I graduated, so I graduated in 2010. Woo! So man, shout out to the class of 2010. Howard High School. I never, to be honest with you, Yana, like for me, like I never saw myself walking a college campus, but I always knew that I wanted to go to college.
wow,
Like and a lot of people, they see college like on TV,
hmm
and it's like 100 people in one room, and you had these stadium like classes, but coming to Arkansas State, it wasn't like that.
hmm
My first class that I walked into was making connections. It was taught by Miss Two, which is she's still on this campus, which is great. She's a wonderful person. But that was the first college class I ever went to. And making connections is basically a course to get you acclimated to campus. So they teach you about like the different resources and different people you can reach out to on campus. You learn about the history of
like
Arkansas
like
State.
a freshman seminar.
Yeah, like a freshman
Hmm
seminar, exactly. So that's what that actually was, and it was only like 12 of us in there. So from me looking at TV, I'm like hold
Where the
on,
people
like
at?
this is not the college I was promised. So of course you did have classes like that, but it was more like biology and history and different courses like that. But coming to Jonesboro, it was such in Arkansas State. For those who don't know, Arkansas State is located in Jonesboro, Arkansas. It's actually 2 hours, probably 2 hours and 25
Hmm
minutes from Little Rock, where I'm from. So, my mom never wanted me to go to like University of Central Arkansas because that was in Conway. It's like 30 minutes from the
Oh,
house.
she wanted to
So,
go away. She actually wanted to
yeah, she wanted me to get a experience where I couldn't go home every weekend,
mm,
which I thank her for that
my
now.
mother loved him. So that's the first.
Yes, y'all. I wish I could bring my mama on here. Like she'll tell you straight up. But yeah, so that's it's about 2 hours from the crib, and so like it was just a culture shock for me because I had been in an environment my whole life going to school. The Little Rock School District. It was nothing but black people.
Mhm.
Like it was nothing but black people. Now coming to Arkansas State, which the at the time the African American population was 13%.
Wow.
It was like, yo, like everybody don't look like me here. Everybody don't look like me, and so being the fact that everybody didn't look like me, I still was in my element.
Right.
Like my freshman year, I still was in my element. Fitted cap, do rag, sweats the class, J's. Like I'm still doing that. It's no problem. So I stayed in a hall, kind of like Eagleson, like 12 floors. Shout out to Eagleson,
We
man.
gonna
Shout
get
out to
there.
Eagleson.
Shout out to
Yeah, we gonna get there. Shout out to Eagleson, but it was just like Eagleson, like 12 floors, co-ed. I actually came down and I roomed with my best friend, DeAndre, and I say Anderson, DeAndre Cooksey, and you know it was just a culture shock just being here,
Mhm.
but it was kind of like what I said earlier, like a lot of people like Little Rock is so like small, but it's so big in a sense because we have a lot of high schools. It's like it put all the high schools and it put us all together. So it's just like Little Rock is like a family. Like it's like, oh, you from the crib? Oh, you from the crib? Oh, what's
Yeah.
up, crib? What's up, crib? So man, it was just me like getting here and just being able to find myself, because a lot of people know, like, when you're in high school, like, you kind of, I mean, you make your decision, you make your own decisions, but
No,
sometimes you
you
don't.
don't, Rob, because it's the truth.
Yeah,
You really make
yeah,
your own
yeah,
decisions in college.
yeah. You may look, but college, that's where you make your own decisions, man, and you find out who you really are, like, and that's so important to just be able to be in an environment to be like, oh, like 18-year-old Robert was cool, 18-year-old Yana was cool, but yo, I'm turning 21. I'm a junior. Like, what do I like?
Yeah.
We all grown. So, what's my drink of choice? Like, what do I enjoy? So yeah. So man, Arkansas State has definitely been a blessing. Um, and I know we're gonna get into it later, but I'm actually working here now.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later
Yeah.
too. So yeah.
And speaking about getting to know yourself, what was something that maybe surprised you about yourself when you went to college? Like maybe just like the way that you moved, or like what surprised you about
Yeah,
yourself?
man, I can honestly like yo, I can hit this on the head because I was actually talking to one of my students about this.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of my biggest struggles, I think, in high school was talking in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was like, public speaking was not my thing. Like I actually spoke at my high school graduation. I was secretary of the senior class, and I had to introduce the superintendent.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, I got up there in front of all them people, like, I was talking so slow. I'm like, what's going on? But man, so that was, so when I got my freshman year, and it's crazy that everything happened my freshman year to basically, set me up for everything later on down the line. But my freshman year, I took a oral communications class, and so within that class, we said a lot of speeches, and so it basically, like, canceled that fear of me, like, getting in front of people and like talking,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't declare my major until my junior year. Like, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I didn't declare my major until my junior year.
So you were just
So
saying, of course,
yeah,
I'm here.
I was just taking classes at that point. But I declared communication as my major, and so I did that because I knew that other classes would make me go up and speak in front of people.
Yeah.
So that was something that God put on my heart, that I was just like, yo, you got to get better at this, because one day you're gonna be in front of a lot of people and you're gonna be speaking. So now, fast forward, that's all I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, something that definitely surprised me, and man, you can ask anybody in my family, like, they never thought I would be doing something like this, working with people, going up to talk to people, like being that people person, because, in 18-year-old down to 12, I was never that person to be doing that. So being able to challenge myself, and getting better at just being me, if we want to, put it frankly like that. That's definitely something that surprised me.
Yeah.
Like,
And what
so,
advice would you give to somebody who is trying to get out of their comfort zone, whether it be public speaking or any space?
definitely, man, just challenge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To be
Just
honest,
do
like,
it.
just do it. Like, just challenge yourself. Like, things that you aren't capable of. Definitely, like, challenge yourself to do this. And it's crazy you brought this up, because I was having a conversation with one of my line brothers, and we were speaking about Kobe Bryant, and we was talking about the new documentary on Netflix, The Redeem Team, and we were just speaking on how Kobe was just so different. But with Kobe, it was just family, basketball, business, and it's all about taking it. And Kobe was just on another level. Like, it was top tier, then it was him. So it's just like, challenge yourself to get to that next level, whatever you have to do to get there. and it's gonna be a lot of trials. Like a lot of stuff is not gonna work, but just coming up is just like the process of elimination. To be honest, like, and it'll work out for you.
Yes, and that's
You know,
something I just put on one of my pages. I was talking about how you can't skip the learning process. It don't matter what you do, you just
facts,
can't skip the learning process, and that's what everything
facts.
goes is about. Just going ahead and getting whatever you want for yourself, no matter what it is. Because if you want it, you're gonna have to work for it. It don't
You
matter
gonna
what
have
it is, and
to.
it doesn't always have to be hard work. It doesn't have to always be like it's strenuous. It's just saying like I'm taking a step back and this is something that I want for myself and I'm gonna go after it and give yourself
Right,
grace through it as well. Give yourself permission to have some trials and tribulations because you want
right,
to.
right,
And it's
right.
fine.
And then us as like young adults, we want everything like right now.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. We don't give our time. It's just like what you said. We don't give ourselves time to make mistakes. Go through the process. Like I never forget when Dr. Lewis at NCCU. She was driving a Cadillac CTS. I remember, and she parked right next to me. It was brand new. And, I used to come out to her. I'm like, Dr. Lewis, like, what I gotta do? Like, what I gotta do to get me a Cadillac? She said, keep living. Yo, that advice,
So her though.
that advice was the biggest advice that I could have ever received. And when I think about it now, it's so true because you never see yourself like being in like a certain position, but it all come with time. It all come with time. It all come with just the people you meet. Learning the process. As you go, and I mean, you can come and you can speak about it. Just like you.
Yes, and that leads me to another point that I just posted. I said try living through it instead of thinking through it because a lot of
Mm,
times we just sit there and be trying to use our brains to and
right,
we right here right now, be in the present, do what you can right here right
right,
now, and when we get there, we're solved.
right,
We'll
right.
solve it, but for right now, just do what you can. I think that's another thing because we are in the information age. We are in the social media age where everything is so readily available to us, and we
Right,
are just you and we see people like not in our spaces but in like entertainment spaces. Of course, they like blowing up
right,
overnight. It's nothing, but we
right,
also don't know how many people we think that they're a blow up, but half these people been working on this stuff for years.
right.
Not
Been
not
working,
ice
been
ice,
working
but
silently. Ah,
with your
you thought I was
pearls.
spinning?
I said, "Oh my god,
You thought I was spinning?
he is."
Thought I was
But
spinning?
but yet some people are. But then we see that when, for example, oh that's so crazy. But for example, like her, we saw like her performing and stuff like that, and people
Hmm.
were critiquing her really bad, like she not ready
Yeah,
to perform this, that, and the third. But it just shows to say like when you're working on your craft, you have to take your time to work on your craft, so that when
yeah.
you do have the opportunity to showcase yourself and show the people what you're working with, show the people what you're working with,
Facts.
you're ready and you're prepared and you're ready to wow the scene. So
Right.
yeah.
And then we gotta just realize, like, as young adults, like sometimes people's story is not our story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and we try to, put those ambitions and actions on
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, in which, sometimes God didn't write your book like this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, God wrote everybody's story to get to point A.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes God wants you to go to point B so you can figure out point A was better for you. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Oh, tell me
Yeah.
about it.
So that's what I tell my little cousin right now. He's at Tennessee State. Like, like no matter what anybody tells you, write your own story. Do what you want to do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all gonna work out. So yeah.
And that'll let us, you talk about write your own story. That's a good segue into us meeting
Okay.
at North Carolina Central University. So Rob was definitely, yes, Eagle
Oh,
Pride always amplified.
Eagle Pride,
So
amplified, baby.
Rob had already been there. I did my whole freshman year, went through my whole freshman year with Rajay being the
What's that? 2016?
2016, 2017. Yeah.
2016.
And I did my whole freshman year going through doing what I like to do. And at the end of, he was the director because I lived in Eagleson, ninth floor. My RA was
My
Tanisha. Hey,
Lord,
girl.
the
Right.
penthouse, the
Yes,
penthouse.
yes, the penthouse floor. I love that. I met my best friend up there. We still best friends to this day. Even though I used to go down the hall and annoy them, that was fun. But one thing that I would say is that Rob always had his door open. He was always welcoming to us, whether we had a facilities question, a school question, scholarship question, financial aid. He said, "Well, the
Anything.
financial aid office is over there. I
Yeah,
can tell
well,
you
you know,
who to go to, but I
I
can't
can't
tell you
help you
what to
money
do."
wise because look, I just did my application for that 20 bands yesterday.
Yes, y'all. The
I
application is
need
open. Go
the app
fill
is
it out.
now open and it's so easy, y'all. I promise it's so
Go
easy.
fill out
All
your
they need is
application.
your information, man.
Yes. And
Hmm.
so when we go back to writing your own story at the end of the school year, I write Rob J a letter and a little note
Man,
on a small piece of paper. I said, "Hey Rob, I'm so excited to be an RA next year."
look, if it weren't for me getting up, I would go get that letter right now and flash it to y'all. I
I had
promise you.
no clue. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew that that housing cost a little bit too much for my liking, and I
Man,
think I would
what?
have a good time being an RA. But the first thing first was that y'all, I wasn't finna pay for housing no more years. So just to fast forward it, all 4 years
Uh,
that I was at North Carolina Central University, I lived in Eagleson Hall on the ninth floor.
man, what? The
All four
best
years.
thing.
But yeah, so speaking about that, writing your own story, Rob, what about that was like, yeah, I'll let y'all to be hey nigga, just
Man,
take me a
like
little something, right? Like
look, I'm man. So it was so wild on how this happened. But first off, shout out to NCCU.
yes.
Man, sloping greens. Look, North
Sloping
Carolina,
hills and verdant
sloping
green.
hills and running
He didn't
greens.
go to Central, so we worse than
I didn't
Central.
go to
He
Central,
good for our
y'all,
school.
but
So
I
shout out
am
to
such an advocate for North Carolina
yes,
Central University,
yes.
man. Just because they took a chance on me, when nobody else would. So, I'll forever be an advocate for, NCCU, and I paid my 1910, even though I didn't go.
Yes,
I paid my
I love my
1910.
1910.
Look, I paid mine. So yeah, so. Man, so manifestation is so real, first of all. But, I knew Yana, she was such an outgoing, like, wonderful young lady. I remember she drove that Volkswagen Bug. You drove the Volkswagen Bug, I'll never forget. And, I come back to my office like on some random day. It was probably like a couple of months because before recruitment. And we always do recruitment every year where we get a new batch of RAs. And, I come back to my office, I look on the desk and I see a note said Mr. Rob. And I'm like, yo, who? Like she said, I kept my door open. So I'm like, yo, who write me notes? So open the note. The note reads, Mr. Rob, I cannot wait to be a RA next year. Bye bye. But it was so wild because we hadn't done recruitment yet. So I'm like, okay, this girl is serious. Like this is something that she want to do. But man, to be honest with you, man, when you see people who have that burning desire, you just take a chance on them.
Thank
And it was a blessing that it worked out. You know, in my favor, to be
you.
honest,
Yes.
because I couldn't run Eagleson without y'all. Like resident assistants are the eyes and ears of the residence hall. Because when I leave at 5, I'm finna go lay down. Y'all still
And
working.
eat your cereal.
And I think Central was so special at a lot of stuff that like I needed y'all, and I couldn't have done it without you. So, I was like, oh, like give me Yana. I need Yana on my team. And of course, I picked like a lot of other people that I didn't know, but I knew they interviewed good. But man, that staff, it was definitely something special, man. And I thank God for y'all because y'all were definitely, being the fact that I was 12 hours away from home. Like y'all were my family away from my family. From y'all throwing me surprise parties to give me birthday gifts to me celebrating y'all every chance I got. Like, I mean, it's something special, and like it's something that I never forget. Like as long as I'm in higher education, as long as I live, I'll never forget. So I thank God for y'all.
And what was that like rallying up a bunch of young adults with you being a young adult as well? Because we I know we were like some of us knew how old you were, but a lot of us
Yeah,
really didn't have a real
because
clue.
I didn't tell y'all.
We knew you was young, but
Yeah.
we didn't know how you.
So y'all, they would ask me all the time, like, "How old are you? How old are you? How old are you?" I'm like, "How old do you think I am?" They be like, "I think it is." Okay. You got it. But man, it was so wild because I think about like Jabbar and Ashanti. Like we were so close in age, or even Raven.
Hmm.
Like we were the same age, and I never saw myself doing something like that, but I never wanted to tell y'all my age just because, I didn't want to start that boundary right there, or, for people to not see me as an authority figure, which, I try to build that community where I'm an authority figure, but at the same time, like I'm here for you too. But yeah, just rallying up y'all. First of all, one of the hardest I think it was like that third year. I think it was like that third year. That's what really kicked in. Like, yo, oh, what am I doing? But yeah, just being young and just being a leader, I kind of think that makes you more relatable. To be honest, because at the same time y'all are growing, but I'm growing too. So, I'm able to meet you at a level, and, I'm able to discuss certain situations with you that probably some of my older peers wouldn't understand.
Or
You
wouldn't
know,
even want to have those conversations with you.
wouldn't even want to have those conversations because we all have that age gap, and it creates a barrier. And they one generation is better than the other, all of that, but we were kind of like in the same like span,
Hmm.
but now I work with kids that were born in 2005, so I'm just like, I was almost in high school, like, so, but it was so great because, man, y'all, even though I was a couple of years older than y'all kept me young, like, in a sense, because, y'all would come in and play different music, or, y'all would tell me about, like, different social media apps.
Rob likes
Like,
that glizzy, y'all.
look, Shaq Lizzy. Nah, what's my boy? I'm popping this big headache.
Hmm.
But now I work with kids that were born in 2005, so I'm just like, I was almost in high school, like, so, but it was so great because, man, y'all, even though I was a couple of years older than y'all kept me young, like, in a sense, because, y'all would come in and play different music, or, y'all would tell me about, like, different social media apps.
Rob likes
Like,
that glizzy, y'all.
look, Shaq Lizzy. Nah, what's my boy? I'm popping this big
Oh,
headache.
please. I forgot his name. Yes,
Oh,
please. Y'all
dang!
know
He was nice.
y'all know
Mm-hmm.
why no, it's
Man,
so wrong why I can't remember his name. I but rest in peace to him because we my brain is
man, R.I.P. to him, man.
but yes,
R.I.P. to him.
moving so yeah, so in that as well, did you have certain like things that you would like say to yourself about like the way that you carried yourself, or just like did you ever have like a space where you realized like a boundary might have been all right, like hey, you need to back
Man, I think it was so important to, like, tell y'all that, I'm here for y'all, first off, but, I'm your boss first. Second of all, I'm your friend. Cause, I'm like, we're gonna have a great time. I remember telling
You
y'all this
always
verbatim.
say
I always say the same thing. We gonna have a great time, but we gonna get our work done first.
yes.
And that was so important to me, and for y'all, I never wanted to, cloud up that for y'all and put y'all in a space where y'all didn't feel comfortable either.
I want to
Why you
be
looking like that?
transparent. Rob worked in the building with a bunch of girls. That's what
A
I'm gonna say.
bunch of 'em,
Bunch of
bunch
girls.
of 'em,
And y'all know when it's
bunch
a
of
lot
'em.
of girls, child, it's a lot of attitudes. And I won't act like I didn't have one at any point because I
Yo,
sure did. And I
y'all,
didn't mind telling them
yeah,
that I did.
y'all, and we had plenty of sit downs. I don't know if you remember, but you remember me breaking up that fight that happened, and I stood it. I stood in the middle of them. I never look. I'm gone now, so I never told on them, y'all. I never told on them. They didn't get kicked out of school or nothing, but
Y'all,
man, it was just
you had an
man. I
RA that
think
was with child. Like,
yeah,
it was so
like
much going on.
yes, with child, like we man. When I tell y'all, like if God was preparing me to have a daughter, that was the stage. that I done from everything from pregnancies to breakups
Yeah.
to
I
fights
done
to
been
attitudes. Like when I tell y'all, I probably experienced everything, man. But I mean, it was just so good. I just felt good that y'all trusted me, and opened up to me, with a lot of stuff, especially, with me being so young, or y'all made me seem like I was trustworthy, so that made me feel good about myself because I already know. Somebody come in, it was the same drill. Somebody come in crying, I lock the door, close the blinds.
I said, I walk in. Mom, can I close the
I was like,
door?
close the door, lock the door, close the blinds. Like,
And then he
but
turned
but
around and
it
didn't see it go. What's going on, y'all?
was the look. I'll turn around and we'll see what's going on. But man, that was a great time, man, and that just made me feel so special, and I appreciate y'all because that made me a better communicator, especially now. That I still deal with those situations, especially tears. Like I can do countless situations that students come in crying like all the time, but being able to handle that at an early point in my career, it was just like man, it just prepared me for something greater. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And one thing I would say about Bob is that he's a master at building community, just making sure that everybody feels comfortable, just making sure that everybody feels whole. And it doesn't necessarily, because again, when we say there was a boundary, because we all were working there first. It wasn't just
right,
like, oh, we a family and we're here together. Like, not first, we're working here. Second, we're
yeah,
a family and we come here
right.
together. So I would ask, and then you talked about like your line brother, and then you also we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but like, you working in a multicultural center. Why is it so important for you to build community and make sure that you have a strong community around you?
Man, I think, man, it's just like what you said. I think community, is everything. I think growing up, like, I've been in a space where I didn't feel comfortable, especially like, people are raised differently,
Mm-hmm.
just to be honest, and people had different interests. So it's nothing for me to, you know, ask people like, yo, what kind of music do you listen to?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I listen to rock. Oh, I'm not gonna judge you, but I'm just like, yo, I've never heard that. So can I listen? Like,
Yeah.
but it's just so important to have a strong community around you because, man, like the world is a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
itself, and so being able to just have those people around you to motivate you when you feel like you no longer can go, like it's just amazing, man. I always think about my mother. Like i wouldn't I wouldn't be Rob J without my mother, and I say that I go to war for that one. It was a time where I didn't feel, my self image was, up to par. And, I would come home crying,
Mm-hmm.
to my mother. But, my mom made me stand in a mirror and tell myself I was beautiful every day. Every day. She made me stand in the mirror and she made me tell myself that I was beautiful. And that's something like I never forgot. And you know, sometimes we have to do that for ourselves, to be honest. And even when you have a strong community, you got to show up for yourself first.
Mhm.
Like, because if you can't show up for yourself, who else is gonna show up for you, man? And shout out to my pops too. He showed me the way a little bit. He showed me the way, but yeah, like, but when you speak about my line brothers, man, so I have 9 line brothers. Man, I still reach out to them, like, but of course, like, man, just being older, and you'll see, like, as you get older, that friendships are really hard to maintain when you get grown, man. If you don't put the work in, they're really hard to maintain. Just off the fact that people have their own lives now.
Mhm.
People are married. People have kids. It's not like I can call you and say, "Hey, bro, let's go to the calf. Like, let's catch up." Like, man, you you millions of miles away. So it's like I can't do that anymore. So now I try to, man, because I have a lot going on myself. So I try to at least call one person, throughout the week, just to check in on them. Like, I don't need nothing, I don't want nothing, but I'm quite sure, like, if I were to call like any one of my friends, they would definitely, take care of me if I needed something. But it's it's just to check in, and I think that's what we fail to realize sometimes too. That and I see a lot of this lately. It's a lot of like the phone works both ways. But if we both thinking the same thing, somebody got to be the bigger person. Just
And I
call.
don't
Just
even think sometimes it's being a bigger person. Sometimes it's just like if
yeah,
you're thinking about somebody, reach out. Take all of that.
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but just
That
selfishness
pride.
or whatever. Like I forget. I
That
can't
pride.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just reach out to somebody. That's the same thing. Like with us, me, and Rob. Hey Rob, how you doing? Or I want
Yeah.
your Instagram responding to the story. You crazy?
Look, y'all. We was supposed to do this podcast last week. We ended up talking 3 hours on the phone when it didn't work.
Because it wasn't
Yeah.
working. But it's just like building those communities and those connections, and maintaining
Yeah.
those connections. And because on my page I do on Wednesdays we write, and I literally just ask what are the value of what is the value of friendship to you, and how have friends influenced you positively and negatively? Because I think a lot of people, the same thing that we were talking about through your reading, the same thing we were talking
Yeah.
about. I didn't tell reading for Rob.
She good, y'all. She good.
But we were
She good.
about making sure that the people that are around you are elevating as well, the same way that you are. And it's okay to like see certain people and say like, actually, I might not want to be your friend no more because it's no longer
Right.
mutually productive. If it's not productive
Right.
no more, that's fine. But if people are special to you and you care about them, and it don't always have to be I got to talk to you every single day of the week. Once
Right.
every
Right.
2 weeks, every couple weeks, it's fine. We growing up. Live your life and be
Right.
blessed.
Right. Right. And you just gotta see who show up for you.
That too.
Especially when times that you need it. Like, when they show up for you, man, it's just like, man, I'm forever indebted to you. And you'll see that, like, just growing, you gonna outgrow people.
hmm
And I mean, but you have to be in a space to accept that.
hmm
Like that, man. It's okay that, I, like, we not friends no more, or, we just have, like, you just don't have the same goals that I do, or the same interests that I have. So.
Yeah. And Rob, because we about to hit our mark. I got two more questions for you. The first
What's the mark?
like 45, because people don't
Oh,
listen
okay,
that
okay.
long.
Oh, okay, okay.
we,
That's real.
we love each other, so we gonna have a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Continue on FaceTime.
We
But
love
yeah,
to
let's
talk,
go.
and both of us love to talk. Even when we were in like
Right,
his office, it don't even have to be nothing serious going on. It could just be
right.
random stuff going on in the world, or just new
Hmm.
things that we learned about, and we just will talk forever. That's how we do
Right.
it. But the first question that I would ask is, what is a piece of advice that you have for young black men just growing up and also want to be young professionals as well. And because I see that you, like, you just carry yourself in a different way. So I would just like, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Um, let me see. My first advice, my first piece of advice, definitely is know that you are a personal brand. To be honest, like the way you carry yourself, like it definitely shows your future. Like, and and two, like you know, like always, I was always an advocate of, man, like the way you treat people, it'll get you indoors faster than hard work will.
Mm-hmm.
And I've I've received so many opportunities just from being kind, or being just smiling, or asking people how their day was, and they carrying on a conversation with me. I remember being in the airport one time, and I was just talking to this man. I mean, I didn't know him, and he was like, what do you do for a living? I was like, oh, well, I work at Arkansas State. I'm in housing. Whoop de whoop. He's like, oh, I'm the vice chancellor at Ole Miss. Whoop de whoop. Like, we should stay in contact.
Yes.
So man, always know that your self image goes a long way. Especially when um, navigating through your life, or your occupation, anything that you put. Just always know that your self-image is everything. And you know go get you a suit, man.
Ah,
Go get you a
that's
suit.
right.
Go get you a suit. Like, please go get you a suit,
Yeah. And
because
what
man, it's black.
what is a suit? What is considered? What would you say? What are the pieces that you would say is like correct for a suit?
Oh yeah, for sure. Blazer, pants, get you a white shirt, definitely a nice tie, a tie bar if you can. Get you a nice watch too, and some brown shoes. You can wear brown shoes with almost any color suit. So uh, definitely do that, because that also goes a long way.
And your belt.
And yeah, and your belt. Don't forget your belt. Do not forget your belt. Definitely get that, because that goes a long way. Also, it's all about building your brand, like, because people gonna reach out to you, and people are gonna think about you when certain stuff comes up.
Mhm.
Like when you on campus and they are doing something for high school students, they need like a panel or something like that. Yo, I know this nice young man that would be great.
Right.
And you get picked for certain opportunities just off your self image. So just know that you are a personal brand, and building your brand is everything.
Yes, yes. And then my last question is, where can we see you growing from here? What's Rob looking at? What's going on for Rob moving forward now?
All right. Oh, that's good. Okay, this is about me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm the associate director of University Housing right now. Got some stuff in the works, coming up pretty soon. But I'm working on my doctorate degree right now in higher ed administration. I plan to be done with that in the summer of 2024. This is my last degree, my terminal degree. Like in my occupation, you cannot do anything else besides this. So it's something that I've been wanting, like
Yes.
probably
I
probably.
did.
You remember? Look! I remember talking about this in 2016. So just seeing it coming to fruition, and man, just me like navigating through it is amazing. So I plan to be done with that in 2024, and man, from there, man, hopefully one day I can become a college president, or a vice chancellor. I always want to help students. I never, even in 2016, I never want to get so far ahead that I won't be here for the students, because I mean that's the whole reason I'm here. I get to cultivate those relationships that put me on podcasts and give me readings and everything. So
Yes.
I always want to keep that going, man. So just that's what's next with me, and God is still writing my story, and I'm forever grateful. So
Yes.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Rob, for joining us today. We are so grateful. for you and your
Thank
business.
you. This was amazing.
Yes, yes, it's always amazing. And y'all just keep on growing, keep on doing better for yourself, and keep on striving and going after what you want. And like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll leave Rob's information down below. I might. I'll ask him which information he want me to leave below.
Right. Right. That's a better question.
Yes, and yep. So keep growing, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.
See y'all.